Welcome back to Seeing Scarlet. It is Shelby. I'm here with Sibby, and we're here to talk about all the Texas Tech sport happenings from the last week, as we do here. We're going to talk about soccer, up to GOAT type things, breaking records, big time opponents coming up this week. The schedule's really ramping up for all of our opponents, all of our sports on campus, which is going to be fun as a sports fan and might bring some up and down moments, as we saw this week on the volleyball and football side. But we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the good, the things we can improve on that we all know, and what's ahead, because that's the thing to remember about all the sports right now, y'all. It's the beginning of the season. We need to take a breath. Everything is in front of all of these teams. Conference has not started yet, so they just got a lot of things to work on. So we're going to get into that and some tidbits on basketball as well, just for those people, because November is going to be here real quick.
Before you know it.
We're about 2 months away from the first game. I think maybe exactly 2 months away from the first game of the season.
Dang.
So, big time stuff coming up.
Look at that. She's mathing, y'all. Yeah, like Shelby said, we cover it all. Y'all know the drill. If you're here, if you've been here, you know. If you're new here, make sure you're subscribing, follow along with us. If you don't follow us on Twitter or Instagram, you should probably do that too. Shelby's really funny on Twitter. Like Shelby, your GIF game is like elite. Very, very good.
That's 10 years of gift game preparation from working in baseball.
A decade.
But you know what? Gotta give Sibby a shout out. If you were on Twitter this week, she covered. I had family in town. She really stepped up and covered things, and we saw some people saying like, giving us props for like, thank you for doing this, because I would never have known that volleyball was playing right now, and they turned on the TV and they watched. And that's why we do this. It's mostly because the athletes deserve it. And I always say, like, can you imagine, like, what if you scored a hat trick in soccer?
Yeah.
And you got on social media, not that this is what you should be doing, but these are 18 to 22-year-olds. But you score a hat trick, have the best game of your game, break a record in kills in volleyball, whatever, and no one mentions you? Not a soul?
Not here. Couldn't be us.
That would hurt my heart. So that's why we do it. And then it also gets fans to jump in. And then we also do it because we just quite enjoy watching the sports anyway. We're going to be tweeting about it anyway on our personal accounts. Why not do it on Seeing Scarlet? So if you're into that kind of thing, if you need to be reminded when these sports are happening, we're always putting out stuff. We do it for football and basketball too, but we're really hitting it hard on soccer and volleyball because no one else is really doing it. So we feel like someone needs to, and it's not a crowded space. So good times.
Why not us? Why not us? And speaking of all of the different sports, Shelby, tell us what's going on with basketball before we dive into.
Y'all know, I just can't wait for basketball to get here.
And baller for life. Let's hear it, Shelby.
And the excitement around the women's basketball program just keeps growing. We had an episode, a few episodes back. Go listen to it on Avery Jelmstead. She is a top 100, actually the 37th ranked player in the country for the class of 2025. I know there's a lot of talk about the other person, the Chavez in Lubbock in that class, because she's from Lubbock. I totally get it. She'd be a great player too, and we have a lot of spots for that class. I'm sure we're going after all of them, but she excites me as a player, and she put us in her top 8. And interestingly enough, her hometown, her home state Sooners weren't on that list. I don't know what that's about, but good choice for her. Smart girl. But Oklahoma State was, so we still got a battle. And then she had stalwarts. I mean, number 1 seeded Utah and all these great teams. She's Colorado, some really great women's basketball programs, of course, recruiting her. But we're amongst them. A few other Big 12 schools. Iowa State's on there. She looks like an Iowa State player, like wears those long, lanky guards when you play them. But that's what Gerlich's trying to build our team into. That's what she's recruiting. You can see that. Avery is exactly. I mean, I haven't talked to her. We're going to have Gerlich on here eventually, but we haven't talked to her about that. But you can tell by who she goes after and how she talks. Like, that's the guard she wants on her team. Yep. Long, 6'1", lanky, shooter. Same thing she got with Bird that's coming in next year. So I'm really excited about her as a player. The more I watch her, she's getting better every year. She plays on a really stacked high school team. So if you look at her stats, some people are like, she's not averaging 30 a game. Like, well, she doesn't need to. She's playing on a team with like other
elite
Division I players, and she's still getting hers, and she balls out in the AAU circuit. So I'm telling you guys, get excited about her. Go see her. She seems like she's just a good egg all around based on interactions we've had with her and her family. So I was excited to see that. I knew it was coming. I figured we were going to be in her top announcement. But I thought the group of teams that were on there, I was like, okay.
It was a interesting top 8. It makes me think of MySpace days when you said my top 8. It's in her top 8.
Yeah,
She
it's
has
true.
no idea.
She has
but
no
we
idea what
do.
that means.
If you're ancient, you know.
Yeah.
But that's such a good point, and it was cool to see her and her visit with Texas Tech, and she definitely talked about that on Twitter. And then even more so, another reason to follow us on Twitter is Shelby. You retweeted the tweet of her announcing her top 8, and y'all, the comments are just all Red
Texas
Raiders.
Tech.
Everybody's like, you know where to go, and you know all the other schools are like trying to pick up traction.
Trying.
But
You see a few of them, but there's definitely more Texas
she
Tech.
knows.
The top comment under hers, I think it might be ours with the
Seeing
has the likes
Scarlet,
on
baby.
it.
Yeah.
And I don't care who it is, as long as it was a Tech fan, I'd be happy. So everyone's
Right.
liking it. So yeah, I think that's. I mean, she obviously the number one reason she's considering Texas Tech is Coach Gerlich and the program and the school.
100%.
But I do think they quite have enjoyed the fan interaction and fan support that's been shown her way since she's been recruited. And I know she's looking forward to her official visit in the fall. So maybe we can get her on campus for a big game, win the game, and she'll just commit on the spot. You know, a girl can dream.
She'll commit at halftime. It'll be the halftime show.
Like,
Her
that would be like, talk about an announcement. Avery, you listening? In the
that
social
would be
media
cool.
age, that would do numbers for you. I'm just saying. You could drop your handle on the big screen. Be like, everybody go follow me. As soon as I hit 10,000 followers or 100,000 followers, I'm gonna make this announcement. I'm just saying. No. Anyway,
Hire her. Yeah.
let's get this train back on the tracks.
Keep going.
She's great recruit. Would be a big time. There's going to be a large. We'll probably get 3 or 4 recruits in that class of 25. Next year's will be small. It's already done. Just it's not all space on the roster, but that next year we'll have a lot of space, and she'll be the corner piece of that if we get her, and she'll start recruiting for us. So I'm hoping if we get her early. You know what I mean? She can bring some friends with her. But good luck to her. Enjoy the process, Avery. If you happen to listen to this, it's your time. So enjoy it and do your thing. But on the men's side, if you haven't seen it, they announced their non-conference schedule, and it looks pretty solid. Maybe on paper, you think like maybe not, but if you look into the teams that are on that list and compare it to what our non-con has been in the last 5-6 years, which has been horrible, it's one of the better non-cons the men's team has had. So I appreciate that. Whether that's a McCaslin thing or was already set up that way from the past regime, I don't know, but it's good. It'll test them, and I'm excited to see them as well. Like there's going into this season with a little bit of trepidation, but it's not like a long-term thing. I think this guy's going to get it on track, and I really like all the players. It reminds me of the team 2 years ago, the Sweet 16 team, the mentality-wise. We'll see the skill-wise if it happens on the court, but like just the way they're talking on social media, they have that same laser focus mindset where they don't care about who's scoring, they just care about the scoreboard. So I like that about them so far. And we'll see if that translates to the court.
What teams are you looking forward to with their non-conference?
Well, I think
like
you talked about Butler before.
Butler.
Yeah, Villanova. All of our big East Challenge and those ones like Villanova, Butler are probably the biggest ones. Villanova is also a part of they're in like the Atlantis, Battle for Atlantis, which is a huge, prestigious tournament. So Villanova's in that, and then it says TBD because we don't know who we play next because it's a tournament. But you could play the likes of like, I think UNC's in that, like all the blue blood names you've heard of. There's a lot of great teams. So you could, in theory, play like Villanova, UNC. I don't know that Duke's in it, but there's some other big teams in there that you could play in this tournament. It's similar to the one that they played last year in Hawaii, I believe it was.
Oh, cool.
Where you played a few good teams there. I think you played, I don't know, like Wichita State or something like that. But you could do the same thing here. So it's a good test before Big 12, which is necessary as we've seen. So basketball's right around the corner, and I'm excited. I love basketball, but all these other sports are getting me hyped so far this season too, especially Sibby.
Of course,
soccer. I am like becoming
over to soccer.
I mean, which we'll talk about football. We'll get there. And after the sadness that was Saturday, after I got over that, I was like, you know what? I get to watch soccer tomorrow. That'll cheer me up. You know what I mean? Like they've just been. They're such a fun team to watch. Like I've watched them before, but this year they're just a fun team. We'll get into all the stats. Like they share the ball like so much that they lead the country in assists. Like they're just a fun team to watch the way they play. And we saw that again this week with 2 wins in dominant fashion. And I'll kick it over to Sibby, who obviously was at both of the matches and got to see them in full. But big time stuff. What was your biggest takeaway from these games?
Well,
I guess?
my biggest takeaway right now is how proud I am of you. Like, who would have thought this baseball queen is now?
I just love. I don't really like baseball. It's not really not my favorite sport. I just worked in baseball forever. I love sports. I will watch a sport, but
Sporty Spice.
I will watch all sports, any sport. But this soccer team will. If you're not
this
watching
soccer
it,
team,
you
it's
haven't watched their
amazing.
games, they're just flashy. They're fun. They play it the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout the roster. Like it's like the starters come out because we're up 3-0, and these freshmen come in and they're doing the same stuff. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, I think you talked about it in one of the earlier episodes of there is no hiccup when they're subbing
There's
in
no
and
drop
out.
off,
There's no drop off. The impact is there. You were talking about like leaders on the team just with NCAA, and we'll talk about the games more in a second, but Ashley Williams leading, tied in the nation with 9 goals so far this season. And then we have 2 leaders in the top for assist, and I'm sure you can guess Macy Blackburn doing her thing. And up there with her with 5 assists is Sam Courtright, which, oof, y'all, I can't wait to talk about all of them.
She had 3 this week alone, which I believe got her the top draw soccer. They put out team of the week, and she was the midfielder of the week, which is really impressive for a freshman.
Huge.
That team is like the best players in the country at each of the different positions, and they picked a freshman from Texas Tech, 3 assists. And if you saw the assists, I guess we can go to the Thursday game. That's what I remember from that game. Is Sam was she's always pulling stuff out of her bag, but the first like 30 minutes of that match, she was out of her mind with she wasn't scoring goals, but I'm talking that's why this team is fun to watch. The assists are just as fun as the goals on this team. And those assists that she was dropping to Williams, and were they both to Williams? I don't even remember. I was just so enamored with the assists, I can't even remember who finished the goals, but they were just beautiful.
They were. And her footwork is it's precise and it's so fun. So if you care to watch, like Shelby and I were joking about how she has this burner TikTok account. If she does, it's full of trick shots. It's full of soccer trick shots. We got to get down to that. I'm sure it exists.
I don't think it would be a burner. I think it'd be, I'm just saying, I would not be shocked to learn that Sam Courtright had 1 million followers on TikTok because she was like that kid that grew up doing trick shots, because she plays that way. She's very fundamental.
So
she's not just out there messing around. Like there's a reason she's starting midfield on a Big 12 team as a freshman. She's good at what she does. She can do it all. She can assist, she can score. But she can also pull out these wild tricks from her bag that other people wouldn't even think of attempting. And she just does it with ease, because you can tell whether it was for fun as a kid, for TikTok as a kid. Guys, I don't think she has a TikTok. This is just me joking.
Disclaimer.
I wouldn't be surprised if she did, is what I'm saying, that she's like famous for doing tricks or something, because you can tell that she's one of those kids that was just messing around in her kitchen all the time as a kid doing crazy tricks. And she's done them so often that pull them out of her bag in a game isn't weird to her. It's just normal. And
it's it's effective. Like she's one of the leading assist players. So that's evidence in her work so far. So let you know what, we could let's take a couple steps back, Shelby, because as we have been talking about a couple of recognitions here, Madison White has now tied the program record for shutouts, and she's tied with another extraordinary goalkeeper. Y'all know Victoria Olympian, World Cup. History maker. So she's now tied, and that's been really exciting. So the shutout that they had against ACU 3-0, that's when she was recognized for that. So it's just a matter of time.
We love a humble goat. She did not want the
she's a humble goat.
She's like, leave me alone with this. When they were recognizing
imagine a cute little humble goat, like literally.
That's what she was. But she's not. When you put it on during the game, she's not.
She's not. She is
so
not
confident,
a goat.
so terrifying.
She is
but
a laser.
off the field, she was just like, "Nah, I don't want to talk about it." Like,
she's great.
She's got one more game to go to be up there top, and no matter what, she's a top right now, just sharing that spot.
That's awesome. Yeah. So
we're so lucky
congratulations.
to have her.
Truly a Red Raider for life. And another recognition with Ashley Williams. She was named the Big 12 Player of the Week. I think that was last week, 2 weeks ago.
I was supposed to say again.
What year is it? Yeah, we've had so many sports happen since that game, so it's hard to keep up. But yeah, three goals. They all came in the first half. The second half, we saw a ton of new faces, except for
this is ACU.
Madison. Yes, ACU. Sorry about that. Yeah. I'm just tell me when to go and I'm gonna go. So yeah, all in the first half. The first goal, it was so Alex Kerr has really
she's impressive.
Stepped into the transfer shoes, you know, like you just don't know how they're gonna melt with the team or how they're gonna play in a different conference. But Alex Kerr, dude, she is stepping up. I think when she first scored her first goal, I think it was like maybe the second game of the season. From that point forward, she's just been growing significantly. So the first goal that we had,
I like to call her, when I'm watching her play, I just call her Dr. Kerr, because everything's like so clinical and so chill with her. You know what I mean?
Ooh.
Like every time I watch her, she's so patient. I'm just like, oh, there goes Dr. Kerr doing her thing again.
Oh, Dr. Kerr, yeah, just at Dr. Kerr's office. Getting beat 3-0. But Alex has this beautiful play. The ball's passed to her. She settles it perfectly at the 18. She powers through a couple of defenders and creates space. Again, like with these assists that are so important, showing this team is like supporting each other. She creates space to pass it to Jillian Martinez, which is a transfer from UCLA. So that transfer love, and Jillian's been on fire too, which I'm really excited to see her progress through the season. But she launches a absolute bullet with her left foot. It doesn't touch a single thing but the net. And when I was watching it happen, like when Alex broke through those defenders and passed it to Jillian, I was like, she's gonna score.
She had so much space.
I know the ending. Just put it up on the board, and then sure enough, she gets it in there. So that was a really cool play to watch develop. It was a hustle from Alex. It was a hustle from Martinez. It was perfect. So that was the first goal.
One thing I'll say, watching on TV, and you can confirm or deny as being in there in person and being able to see the full field, but it seemed really like ACU was like, I mean, they came in undefeated as well. I think they'd outscored people 13-0 or something like that. And they were like, we've seen what Texas Tech has done scoring wise, and we don't want them to score. Maybe that's how they always play. I don't know, but their outside backs were just chilling down. They don't run like ours do. They weren't pushing up, and they were comfortable just staying. And then they were doubling Macy, even Kerr at times, and they were definitely like, we don't care who scores. It's not going to be Ashley Williams. Correct. And so you see that, and even at times Sam was even bringing a lot of attention to her. And that's what you're going to start seeing, but that's why it's so important. This game, everybody that scored was like someone new, right?
Different score,
unless Kerr got one. But so I think that was, some people were like, well, we didn't score in the second half, but that was my biggest takeaway. It was really hot.
Yeah.
So,
oh my God, it was
we were resting.
hot.
Even Hannah Anderson got taken out of a game, and she never gets taken out of a game.
Yeah.
So but my biggest takeaway was it's good to see that you can try to take Macy out, you can try to take Sam out, you can try to take Kerr out, you can't take them all away because you got someone as good as Jillian out there that can bazooka it from pretty decently well outside the box.
Out the box.
Launched it. And then these other people that scored today or in that game as well that you're about to get into. It's just that was my takeaway. I don't know if that is what it looked like in person, but it seemed like ACU was like, we're just going to try to keep y'all from scoring is our plan.
Correct. They were able to kind of soften the presence of Ashley and Alex. But like what we talked about, this roster's so deep that like, okay, fine, we're still gonna have this this depth in our team. And I want to make note that like ACU played really well. Like they had some really great forwards. They had some really great midfielders. Their fans traveled really well. They were tailgating. So like, it wasn't a layup. It wasn't an easy game. It was tough. The weather, it was hot.
They're a good
all
team
of this.
too.
Yeah. So definitely like a shout out to ACU and bringing the heat in multiple ways. So that was the first goal.
Literally.
And then the second goal, this is where we're going to talk about Sam again. Sam Courtright has this shot that I don't know, but I wonder if she was
Was
trying to
that
just
Sam,
make it
though?
herself. Yes. Yes.
Okay, well they got it wrong. Are you sure it wasn't Macy? I think it was Macy because I thought it
Was
was
it
Sam,
Macy?
or I'm starting to think that we're right because I thought it was Sam live, and then I saw it was Sam on the replay, and then the scorebook gave Macy the assist and and then the team when they tweeted out the video said Macy doing what Macy does. So
Oh,
but Macy usually takes our corners, and
yeah.
so that means Sam would have taken the corner to Macy,
It was
which would have been
Sam.
weird. But I have no idea. So
It
I
was
thought it was
Sam.
Sam too, and I was like, Sam almost made that. So
I'm looking at
anyway,
the
maybe they
score.
fixed it, and
I'm looking at the box score.
I bet they fixed
So,
it on
and I was
Monday
there.
because that's how she got her third. That's how she got her third assist. I feel better because I tweeted something. It was like Sam's out here
Sam
going
doing
crazy, almost made a bomb of a shot, but it went over to whoever, which we'll get into. And
Yeah.
then afterwards, the team posted it and said Macy doing what Macy does, and I was like, wait,
Oh,
I really
yeah.
thought that was
See,
Sam.
that's
They do look
that's
similar. They 21 and 22, I think.
and they're
But
all so
anyway,
good.
so
They're all
Macy or
capable.
Sam?
Sam,
Sibby was there in person. I'm gonna give it to Sam.
I'm
'cause
gonna go
that's
to
where
my
I thought it
grave.
too.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
go to my grave saying this was Sam Courtright, and I'm looking
Okay.
at the box score right now, and it's saying credit to Sam. But
Okay,
she
they fixed
launches this ball, and I'm like, that it has a potential to go in. I think it hits the crossbar, ricochets off, and it's just a cluster. You know, we have our Red Raiders there that are ready for that to happen if it does. And bounced around a couple times, ended up going in the back of the net by Giselle Kozarski.
Mm-hmm.
I
You get
love
that one
y'all
wrong
and I
every
love
week.
your names. I'm trying so hard, but I'm feeling pressured.
is
You
a-
know,
that is
I'm
a
on
tough
a
one,
podcast.
yeah. Can't wait for the
but
next one.
Yeah, so she was there. She was ready. Put the ball in the back of the net. That puts us up 2-0. Again,
Two
yeah,
games
all
in a
the-
row. She's
yeah.
gotten a goal, right?
Yeah,
Heating up.
yeah,
Okay,
she's heating up. I love it. And
Don't
this
let her get
again,
hot.
we're still in the first half, and then the third goal is really special for me
Art.
because pure art, and it's probably a reason why I'm the new president of the
Oh.
Chloe Soto fan club. So
Can I be the vice president?
yeah, sure,
Okay.
you're hired.
I'll be the treasurer because she's gonna make so much money. She's gonna need someone to handle it for her.
True. Yes. So there's so many names in this last goal, which makes it so great because there's so many people that are incorporated into it. So it starts off with Molly.
Skorzinski.
Yes, Molly. I'm sorry.
I have
I'll
the
learn,
advantage
promise.
of listen. I watched the game, so I have the advantage of hearing the broadcast.
Amazing.
So.
Oh, that's nice. Okay. Yeah. So Molly we're on our half. We see Molly scan and she finds spacing for Chloe Soto to go out there and just absolutely cook. And she guides this perfect ball to Soto.
Long ball.
And Chloe is so fast. She gets to the ball quickly. There is a defender. There's one defender that comes up right on her heels, right on Chloe's heels. But Chloe ends up breaking her out of her boots so bad she falls to the grass, not turf, falls to the grass. She beats that defender, literally, figuratively, all of it, then draws in a second defender just enough to cross it over to Olivia
Dragusevic.
Yes. We're going to get it right, y'all, I promise. So
Apparently
she passes
a
it.
former actress. Shout out her.
Yeah, and
Learn that.
she passes it to Olivia. It's a beautiful cross, and it's because she was able to draw in that defender. Passes it to Olivia, who has a great first touch, who brings in the keeper a little bit out from the net, and then kicks it right over the keeper, puts it in the back of the net. It was a gorgeous goal. It was Olivia's first goal in the scarlet and black. So welcome in, girl. I can't wait to see more of those.
Yeah.
And it was just it was a brilliant counterattack, gorgeous passes. Everybody was contributing. It was chef's kiss. That's what, if you love the sport of soccer, it's because of plays like that. So that was our third one and our last one. And then, as the second half started, we started subbing in a lot of our younger players, which was really cool to see a lot of the youth.
Who was it that should have had their second goal? It was either Giselle or Jillian. I think it was Jillian that had her second goal of the game blocked by Ashley Williams.
Oh, yeah.
That was a great. Let's give Alex Kerr a great. She Yeah, she was double teamed. Meg the girl, I think, got through them and got over I think that's who it was. It could have been someone else at that point, but I'm pretty sure it was Kerr. Got a nice little crossover.
Yeah.
And Jillian, one touch into the goal because the goalie was on the other side. She thought she had an easy shot, but Ashley had gone for the header or something. It was, bless her, was the best defender on ACU's team in that play and blocked that shot. And she's like, "Oh no!"
It was very funny
really,
to watch.
it was almost. It would have been one of those that, like, in a 0-0 game, in a conference game, it would have been so painful. But in that moment, it was just like we can all just laugh it off together. Mm-hmm. But she did still a shot from her. I think it was Jillian. That would have to go back and look, but yeah. But it was her or Kazarski.
It was funny too because Ashley tried to get out of the way. Like she had some time.
She did.
Try,
she tried.
So
to
she just ducked, but it clearly didn't work out.
Yeah. And some reason we didn't. Whoever was hitting it didn't see it, but I didn't see her there. She just swung.
Yeah. So
anyway,
from that point forward, we saw just some good play, good minutes for some of the players that haven't had minutes, and then something that I heard in their interviews, and maybe it was from Tom, but they talked about like getting out there and hitting the gas quick, and I've noticed that they've been scoring their first goal really early, so I went and did a little digging. But we have been scoring a goal in less than 20 minutes every game since the time that we had that tie with New Mexico. So
just not mention that game.
There's a couple of games that we've scored within like 3 minutes. Like that is so true. Like
it seems to be a point of emphasis for sure. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's probably a point of emphasis for every team, but they talk about how on our team that they want to start fast.
Like and it happens.
Pushing numbers up.
We're doing it. So with that game, Tech improves to a 5-0-1. That means 5 wins, 0 losses, 1 tie. And they're on a 12-match regular season unbeaten streak.
They ended, for people that don't know, if you go back and look at their schedule last year, this time last year they didn't have very many wins. They struggled in the non-con quite a bit. And that was to give them credit. Macy went down injured, and as you see this year, she's a big part of their team, and they were trying to figure out what was going on, and they just couldn't score, so they were getting a lot of draws and a lot of losses, but they went on a tear. That's how they ended up second in the Big 12, tied. So
and the game before that we had against North Texas, which we won 6-1, which was also a beautiful display of Alex Kerr. It's her first hat trick. She scored in like the 11th minute, and then kind of went back and forth with Ashley for a bit. Ashley scored the second goal and the third goal. Alex scored the fourth. I'm not done yet. And then Macy scored the fifth, and Alex Kerr with the sixth goal. North Texas scored in the very early of the second half against North Texas, but took that dub. North Texas also a pretty decent team, but that was a great.
They're ranked 65th in the Massey ratings, which is not bad at all, especially considering who they are. That's probably the highest ranked team we've played so far this year, and we beat them handedly,
easily. Yes, so really looking forward to seeing what comes from the upcoming games that we are going to preview here in just a second. But you talk about this rating system, and I had to ask you about it because I was like, I don't even know what this is. Because
I didn't know it existed for soccer. So Massey ratings are very big in basketball world analytics. NCAA will come out with their own RPI rankings, which is something that they use to pick teams for the tournament. That's kind of what hurt us last year. Is we finished really well, finished tied for second, weren't even picked for the tournament because our RPI was too low, because of our non-con was so bad, because we didn't play a lot of great teams, but also we lost to them or drawed with them because we were figuring stuff out after the injury. This year, our strength of schedule is poor at this point, but UNT was top 60 team, and we beat them handily. When you're beating teams this handily, it doesn't really matter who you're playing. You're a good team, and so we see that, and we're like, so I finally got to look, and I was like, is RPI out? Like, there's got to be some ratings. Like, I need to know, like, is this what we're seeing, or is this truly a pretty good team? And the Massey ratings has us ranked 32nd in the country. So considering who we've played, we have the 203rd ranked strength of schedule in the country, but we're still being ranked as the 32nd team based on how we're performing offensively and defensively. So that's a good barometer. The other day after our fourth game, after the UNT game, we were actually third in the Big 12, but TCU and Baylor must have played someone pretty good on Sunday. I don't know who they played, but they jumped ahead of us. So now we're fifth in the Big 12, but it also shows you how good the Big 12 is. They have 5 teams in the top 32. And you have BYU, who just beat the number 1 team in the country last week in front of 5,000 fans. Like, that looks like such a cool atmosphere. But anyway, for the people that care about analytics and you're like, how are we doing? I'm assuming the RPI stuff will start coming out during conference, but that gives us a good barometer. They have us ranked 26th offensively in the country, 36th defensively in the country, so pretty balanced. Love to see that. And even though our strength schedule is whack right now, we're projected to have all the way up to the 63rd ranked strength of schedule in the country by the end of the year, which shows you how much this schedule is about to ramp up, which we'll let Sibby talk about here, but we're starting off this week. If you haven't watched Texas Tech soccer yet, I don't know why, but you're about to get to see them against good opponents on the road at future Big 12 opponents, but current Pac-12 teams, Arizona and Arizona State, who are both ranked. I think Arizona is 70th in the Massey ratings, and ASU is 59th. So solid teams is what we're getting at here, that have played some good opponents, and it'll be a good test, and it's on the road. You win against teams that are ranked, those are like, for the basketballers out there, those are like quad 1 wins. You know what I mean? Like that's that terminology y'all hear in basketball. You win both those games, you could bump up quite a bit. Doesn't matter. The team shouldn't be caring about any of this, but I get for fans, they got to have stuff to cling on to, and that's why we're here, to give you that info, to give you some insight. They're doing well, and now they get their first 2 big tests of the season. We played a little flat in our first road game of the year, so we hope we don't repeat that. But to be fair, we played pretty lively and pretty well in our game against Denver, which was also on the road. No one just got to see that because it was an exhibition, so it's not like they haven't done well. That New Mexico game was just what it was. So I would expect it to be a closer game, though. These games are no longer... I mean, if we start winning 6-0 against these teams, great. Something crazy's happening. But it's buckle down time now. And let the people know what we got. Arizona first, right, on Thursday?
Yeah, we got Arizona on the 7th. Yeah, that's, I guess, by the time that you're listening to this, whenever that is.
Tomorrow.
Well,
I don't know. It's either tonight or today when you're listening.
Yeah, sign up for notifications or something so you can listen to it when it's supposed to be listened to. God, get better. Just kidding. Texas Tech's traveling to Arizona for the Arizona Classic. So similar to Wyoming, we're just battling the entire state. And our first opponent will be Arizona. Their current record is 2-1-2, 2 wins, 1 loss. 2 ties. And they have some interesting players. They have a really great goalkeeper, Hope Heisey.
I was just about to say, based on that record, I'm guessing they're a very defensive-minded team. That's what I was getting from that record.
They look pretty stacked defensively. Their goalkeeper, Hope, she just tallied her 300th career save. So she's really good. She's a grad student too, so she's had some time in the game. So some players that I'm looking forward to watching how Texas Tech responds. Megan Shelf, she is a forward midfielder. She's been really good. They have a defender named Sarah Rice, who has been stepping up, and Nikki Dolan seems to be a forward that they send the ball to quite a bit. But again, we have goal scorers as well, with Ashley and Alex both having an incredible season so far. Ashley with 9 goals, as we talked about. Alex Kerr with 6. And last year we did play Arizona. They beat us 1-0. And in that game, Hope, their goalkeeper, had 5 saves. So hoping to see Alex and Ashley being able to get the ball, Alex, why am I off the rails right now? Tell me why.
Probably because I don't know why you're so excited.
There's so many A's. There's so many A names.
There are. We score in so many goals, it's hard to keep up.
What these
other people are doing.
Exactly. So, hoping Ashley and Alex are really coming in there ready to play, ready to score early.
At least being dangerous enough to attract attention, because we've seen it that they don't necessarily have to be the ones to score, but as long as they're pushing up and bringing the eyeballs and the people to them, fine. We'll get Jillian, Giselle, we got other people creeping around. Sam can do it. Macy can. Everybody can do it. Everybody's there and ready. And I don't know the stats on this. We'll let you get back to Arizona, but we haven't scored many off of corners, like set pieces, and I think that's a good thing. Like, all of our goals are coming from like run of play, and to me that is why we're so dangerous. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle that, because it seems like in college, especially, just with how the teams play and so defensive minded, that they can pack it down in there. Well, you can't always pack it down in there and run a play. So see how that works for there.
It would be.
But I just looked it up. That Nikki Dolan girl you talked about, does have 5 goals on the season, so she's up there, right behind Kerr. But she's up there. She's definitely a good one.
She'll be one to shut down for sure. And with our set pieces, it would be nice to score off of them. But I think you're totally right in the way of in the way that we have been playing. It's not necessary really right now.
Stat question for you: do we get credit for the one we argued about earlier that we thought we were right on, but this team said Macy, where Sam scored it? It was off a set piece, because it was Macy corner over to Sam, and then she kicked it in. Oh, that's technically off a set piece. Even though it was like it wasn't a traditional service from the corner.
1-2. Yeah, that's a great question. But
I'm gonna give it to us.
All right. We'll take it.
Anyway, continue.
I'm excited for set pieces in the future, only for Story Sexton. She's so tall. She's athletic. She has some time she's had some minutes, but that's beyond. We'll think about that later.
Yeah, you're a big fan of her.
I like her. Yeah, she's fun to watch. So yeah, in the history of this matchup, we've lost to them 4 times. We've won twice, and we've tied 3 times. So. You're right, Shelby. This is going to be a great test for us. I think
play quite often as well.
Yeah, our toughest competition yet, and I'm excited to see how we are going to do on the road after the experience that we've had at home for a stretch of time. But you know how I roll. We're going to win this game. We're going to win it. We're going to win it.
I think we predicted to win. I like your prediction. 2-1 feels fair. I never want to assume that Maddie's going to give up a goal, but Arizona's a good team, and sometimes it's not Madison giving up the goals. Actually, I would argue that both the goals we given up this year were not her fault. So that's just soccer. Things happen. So I like 2-1. I think fans that have been watching the team need to start getting used to closer games. We've been spoiled.
Correct.
I hope I'm sure we'll have some crazy games where we go crazy, but I think that seems fair. I like that. Who's going to score the goals? Double down.
Oh, I hadn't thought that far, and we just named 20 of them that can. There. Yeah.
You think Ashley's getting her 10th goal?
I think that's it has to happen unless
it feels
triple
likely.
Teaming her. Like, it's just inevitable.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, so I'm excited for that. And so that's happening again, on the 7th. Make sure you're tuning in to watch. And then just a few days later, Texas Tech will play Arizona State. Arizona State is currently 3-0-3 in terms of their record. And a game to reference to, undefeated, similar to us. But sort of 3 ties though. But they did play, right. Give some, good lose them.
We'll give it to them.
Whatever. But they did play New Mexico State, which we know.
Okay.
And they ended up winning against them 4-1, where we shut them out 5-0.
Oh, so obviously we're gonna win. Science,
exactly.
Math.
That's how.
Kidding.
That's how math works.
I'm sure each other will look at each other's film on that. That's good for the coaching staff, because they play the same team, the same scheme, and it's good for them to pair against.
Team scheming. But they have some really great players on their squad as well, and a lot of options for scoring, assists, things like that. So I am looking forward to our defense stepping up. I'll be curious to see how our formations will shift, if at all. If we see Kylie maybe playing back a little bit more this game, that might be something that we see for the remainder of the season, just knowing how our competition's going to grow from this point forward. So compared to them in terms of scoring. We almost doubled them so far this season, and they also have a really great goalkeeper from Germany. She's, I think, a grad student as well. So they have a few international players, which I thought was pretty cool. But yeah, I imagine this game, like you said, will be a little bit tougher in terms of who's going to win this thing.
Oh, wow. Yeah, they've only allowed 2 goals, which is the same for us, right? But they've only scored 11 goals. So they must be last year Texas Tech style, where they're more concerned about keeping you from scoring than pushing up and scoring.
Right. Yeah, we're doubling them in that category.
But they clearly have good goal scorers. They just take their chances when they get them. Not a volume attempt team, seems like. But who knows?
Who knows?
You never really know until you start playing like Power 5 teams. Like if people have been holding stuff back, like you don't know what's going on. So it'll
never know until you know. You know.
Yeah, these are Power 5 players for a reason, and the Pac-12 is a great soccer conference, as we talked about in that episode.
So true. So true.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be the best test yet. And that's Sunday at 10 a.m. for us on Central Time. So make sure that you are tuning in and watching them perform. But again, they're gonna win.
10 a.m. their time, surely to goodness.
Is it?
10 a.m. Central would be 8 a.m. there. I know what you're talking about. Our team put that out.
Yeah. And
I was like, that has to be a typo. Is that really when they're playing that game? They're playing at 8 a.m. in Arizona? What the... I guess the heat... Maybe to avoid the heat.
Maybe to avoid the heat.
Means. Yeah.
I'm going to look at ASU's website now.
Yeah. I saw that same thing that our team put out, and I was like, that's got to be a typo. But maybe it's not. Maybe that's to avoid the heat.
Let's look. I'm going to look.
Maybe it's 9 a.m. there? Because they don't do daylight savings time? Okay, they don't do daylight savings time, so I never know I never know what time of year, if they're 2 hours or 1 hour behind. So 9 a.m. Wow, that's got it. Do they have turf? Surely not. They're just trying to avoid the heat. I'm here for it. It's going to be 120 degrees, so.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to avoid the heat, Shelby, because we're in town.
It's a weird move for Sun Devils. You think that they would like the heat, but
yeah, well,
Sun Devils and all, but 9 a.m. Right. Wake up early, fam.
Hey,
10 a.m.
brunch.
Central. It's 11 a.m. for me, so I'm Gucci. But y'all gotta wake
Mimosas.
up a little early. Yeah, perfect. That's perfect. You can watch Texas Tech soccer. It'll finish just in time for the first Sunday of the year of NFL football.
Oh,
get your footballing in, and then your footballing in. You know what I mean?
Hey,
let's do it. So we'll be up bright and early tweeting.
That's right.
And doing things. I like that. Let them get home early. Okay, I definitely thought that was a typo, but it was not. My apologies, Texas Tech. I assumed.
How dare you? How dare you? It is a little jarring to see that early of a start time. But
that's weird. It's so weird.
That's what we got to do, and that's who we have coming up on the 10th, and then hopefully we come back to y'all with some really great news.
Yeah, because then that next week we start Big 12 play on Thursday, right? Houston,
that's right,
in town.
Yep.
We'll hype that up, but next time you can watch this team in person is for Big 12, and we've been telling y'all to get to the ballpark. Sorry, old school problems. Worked in baseball for 10 years. We've been telling y'all to get out to John Walker, and y'all have been doing great. Not that you were listening to us, but y'all have been coming out and packing that place for most of the game. That Sunday game was hot, so I don't know how people were there. Bless you, all of you.
Yeah.
But definitely these night games, Thursday night games, Sunday night games. Big 12's tough, y'all. So get there if you can. Get those tickets out.
It'll be great. And then in addition to soccer with those previews, we've had so much volleyball happening in the last how many days? They have been playing so many games.
We played 5 games in 4 days. Bless them.
Dude, I'd be so tired. And they're students. So who has the time?
And they're a very young team, and they're
young
team. So I mean, we can't sugarcoat it. It was not a good week for Texas Tech volleyball. They know that they were not at their best. They started the losing train against Wyoming. It was not a great week for Texas Tech athletics against Wyoming. We lost to them in volleyball on Friday. We lost to them in cross country track on Saturday, and then football as well.
Yeah.
So Wyoming had our number. But then with the volleyball team lost to them. I think it was like fairly close in 4 sets or 5 sets maybe on Friday night. It was a battle. And then Saturday we bounced back, won both of our games. Texas A&M Commerce, as well as against Louisiana. Their head coach is a Texas Tech alum, so that was always fun for us to get those wins. And then I didn't get to watch them, so we'll get your takes of watching. I did watch last night's game against ACU. It just seemed like, at least the ACU game, by the time we got there, dead legs. Like, we just looked tired, didn't have a lot of energy. And in volleyball seems like a sport where you really need energy because of the crazy rallies and stuff they do. And it just seemed like ACU, like, really wanted it more. And I hate to say that because I don't like to say, like, we didn't want it. I'm sure our players did. But ACU really, really wanted that match yesterday. And I think we were just tired and we're young. And when you mix young with tired, the sloppy mistakes you just get because you're young get even sloppier. And every match we've lost this year that I've watched, and you can give your takes on the one that you went to this week since I didn't get to watch a lot, it's been us hurting ourselves. That's probably the sport of volleyball, but we have a lot of mistakes, a lot of service mistakes, which I think can get cleaned up. We have 10 days off, and that's 10 days to rest a little bit. We've played probably more games than anybody in the country just because of the weird scheduling, how they've done it. They don't play this weekend, so they got 2 games in early in the week on the back end of playing 3 on the weekend. So it was tough. But they get 10 days off before a really tough invitational. SMU's a good team. They went up and played in Nebraska just a couple weeks ago. I saw that on TV. And then LSU, obviously, SEC team is in that. And then Texas A&M Corpus Christi. I don't know how they are indoor volleyball. I know they're a really good outdoor volleyball team. So I would assume they have talent on the indoor side as well. So
it's amazing.
Yeah. So good things ahead, but they need a lot of regrouping. They know this. The talent's there.
Oh my gosh, it's so there. Play. Yeah. I mean, a lot of our recurring names of like Brim Williams, Dugan, like Kate Hansen, like Maddie, Curry, all of these players have such talent, and I think you're right. I think it was just a ton of volleyball, and to come off of that loss and go immediately to
mental as well.
Yeah, your next match with ACU. Even though we've played them already and we already beat them this season, it's just so handily. Tough. Yeah, it's so tough to think about how it would have been possible to recuperate between those 2 matches. So I think, again,
and
the
ACU,
talent's
to be
there.
fair, is a pretty good team. They just beat Grambling like on Saturday or something before they played us, it looked like. And that Edmiston girl is crazy good. That was just going off against us. So, like, it wasn't these people look at it and see the names and they're like, we should have won those. And listen, our team's going to say, yeah, we should have won them. But in volleyball, especially, like, just you don't have to be like this branded team to be good to win games. It's not as unusual to see these type of quote unquote upsets, but it is what it is. And it's also seemed like when I would see the lineups, I'm like, that's an interesting lineup. Like maybe we was trying to rest some of our starters and all this stuff because they played so much, and he was testing and letting some young people play. So it did seem like we were trying some things and it just didn't work.
Yeah, but I think you're right too, though. I'm happy that the errors or like the mistakes are things that we can absolutely improve on. The talent is there, so everything else is easily to be molded into what we want. So we're all in. We're all in.
Yeah, we're
forever.
gonna watch. We're gonna be there. I mean, listen, a lot of outsiders said it's a rebuilding year. Maybe it's fair. I get it. We were picked 11th in the Big 12. Everyone knows this. We lost a lot of players just from graduation and had some transfer out, and we have a lot of young players, and you see that. Where at times they look like world beaters, right? We're beating Notre Dame. We're doing these things. We're beating Wichita State. And then at times they look a little bit in their heads and they start making some errors. But that's all stuff like Sibby said. Like you'd rather have that than to be like, man, we just can't match up against these teams. You know, they just overpowered us. And even the announcers last night were like, Texas Tech isn't playing bad. Like ACU is just making all these crazy diving plays, and they just wanted it a little bit more. And they had the energy because they hadn't played 5 games in 4 days. So they just seemed a little fresher, and that got the best of us, I think. And it's hard to overcome a team that's playing that scrappy when you're making mistakes that you don't normally make as well. But we'll get it figured out. Big 12's right around the corner for them as well. They got 10 days off here before the invitational we talked about with SMU and LSU, and then that next week is when they start Big 12. I think they have Kansas coming up first. Cool. So, listen, to me, it's like you just beat that 11th place ranking. That's what I would be telling myself. I know they're telling themselves much bigger than that. Do it, but like as a fan, it's like see some growth because this is a little bit of a transition year from a group that graduated out, a really successful core group of players that are gone now. And you do have to rebuild. So, but the talent's there. Yeah. They're fun to watch. Even in these losses, they're fun. They have flashes of kind of brilliance.
The hype and like the yelling. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Ugh.
Kate Hansen, does she lead the? She's still up there in blocks in the country. She's,
of course,
ridiculous.
Of course she is.
So yeah, that's volleyball. So keep supporting them. Stay behind them. Yeah. I feel confident that they're gonna go down to Dallas and maybe pull a little upset or two against those two teams down there in front of the Red Raider faithful, because there's a big fan base of Texas Tech fans there. So I'm hoping a lot of their family will probably get to go watch as well. A lot of them from that area. So yeah, I think they'll get much needed rest. It'll be a long 10 days for them because they're going to be raring to play and to wipe this off their memories, but they'll get a lot of practice in. So yeah, that's all you can say with that is it happens. This is sports. Yeah. They'll get it figured out. They have plenty of time to do that.
Speaking of that type of attitude of wiping it clean and moving on, let's talk a little football.
Oh boy. Yeah, like there's not much more you can say about football that people didn't say on social media. I get it. The team's frustrated. From a game standpoint, listen, Wyoming is not a bad team. We'll find out how good they are by the end of the year. This could be if they win the Mountain West, this loss doesn't look that bad all of a sudden. And they seem like a pretty solid team, especially defensively. Should we have won? Absolutely. We were up 17-0 in the first 4 minutes of the game.
What?
I don't know what the probability charts were on that, but probably like a 99% probability to win at that point. The team knows this. Joey McGuire knows this. You can't let a team on their home field with their home fans against their quote-unquote Super Bowl of the year getting a chance to play a Big 12 team, although I think they play Texas in a few weeks at Austin. To win, you can't let them get back in it. And that was my biggest frustration is we seem like on the scripted plays, those first two drives that we had scripted, they had practiced those all week. They knew what they were running. There was no thought process. They knew it. And when they didn't have to think, we were the better team 100% of the time. We were just running chop over them. Once those scripted plays were gone and we had to think a little bit, then it was like, our quarterback struck. I don't know if it was him or if our receivers weren't getting open, holding the ball a little bit too long. And then they weren't letting Chuck do what he does best was my question. I get trying to keep him healthy. It's a personal opinion of mine, but I think he's best when he's allowed to run people over. I don't want him to do that every play because he will get hurt. But it seemed like they told him, hey, man, you're not running. And he was back there like tentative. Instead of taking off and getting a few yards, he was having to throw crazy passes. And then we weren't taking a lot of deep shots, which I think I did see Kitley take ownership of that, our offensive coordinator, saying, hey, I got to take more deep shots. And you do because, listen, you're not going to find many quarterbacks that can do everything well. Shuck is not a quarterback that's going to sit back there and pick a defense apart, throwing boundary to boundary. He's not great at those throws. What he is great at is a deep ball. The dude throws a great deep ball. You got to, he's your starting quarterback, let him do his thing. And it just didn't seem like they were calling him for him after those two drives. You saw the deep ball on the touchdown. You saw another good one late in the game to Jerron Bradley, who dropped it, unfortunately. He's a great deep ball thrower. So that's my hope is against Oregon. Let the kid, if Shuck's going to be your quarterback, you got to let him do what he does best. Otherwise, you're just not putting him. People can be frustrated with him. That's fair. He had a lot of time to throw, and the choices weren't there. But you also have to understand, what if we can't see the full field? I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt that the plays weren't being called in his favor either. You know what I mean? So, and that's what Kitley took ownership of. So that's my hope is we let him open it up a little bit and let him do what he does. Let him throw bombs. And if he needs to run someone over like he did in overtime against Wyoming, where we just let him run it 5 times in a row and it worked, let him do it.
He's like, please, somebody else do this maybe once or twice. But
I mean, if he doesn't want to, I'm not trying to tell the kid to get hurt, but I think he wants to. And there's a way to run the ball and be healthy about it. He doesn't need to lower his shoulder the way he does. He needs to be smarter about it, but he's capable of running every once in a while. That's what he does best. Like I said, you don't have generational talents at quarterback in college at every school in the country. There's like one or two of those every year that can make all the throws and do all the things. Most teams have quarterbacks that are great at 1 to 2 things. In my opinion, he's a great deep ball thrower. He's great at knowing how to change the plays and knowing the playbook, and he's great at people disagree with me on this, but I think he's a great runner when he needs to be. He's actually one of the faster guys on the team. He just looks like he's not because he's so tall. And you saw how he played against Ole Miss. We don't win that game against Ole Miss if he's not trucking dudes. I'm sorry, but we don't. So there's got to be a balance, in my opinion. I want him to stay healthy. I don't want the guy to get hurt again. I want him to have a full healthy season. But mix it in like we did in overtime. When we needed it, we went to it. Maybe go to it a little earlier if we need it, and let the guy chunk some bombs against him. He came from Oregon, by the way. This is a revenge game for him, and you got to keep mentally. You got to keep his emotions in check, so he's not doing too much. But he's going to be like, "Let me throw it, but coach." So that's my hope. Is that
I'm hoping like all the decision makers are trying to set him up for the best version of him as a quarterback. So
that's what you got.
I'm with you there.
Just let him do what he does best.
Yeah, I'm there with you.
Don't try to make him a quarterback that he's not. I know a lot of people call him for the backup. I love Baron Morton. I do. I think he's a different quarterback. I think he can make those boundary shows. He can't run over somebody though. So let you quarterbacks do what you do best. I think they both can win games for this team. You just gotta. The play calling needs to be a little better, and the coaches know that they own that. So
wow.
Some good things I saw, though, is I thought our secondary looked good.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be, positive here. Listen, I think the game ended in 4 quarters. It was 20-20 before we went to overtime. The score got a little inflated in overtime. But you allowed 20 points, you should win the game. And I thought Taylor Dimerson, Rabbit, I thought he was really good. There was some sort of weird blown coverage on the very last play of the game.
Yeah.
That was the secondary's fault, but it seemed like that might not be right, but it seemed like it was their fault. Other than that, I was pretty impressed. Now, their quarterback wasn't a world beater back there for Wyoming, but which is going to be different against Oregon, but I thought they did pretty well. So I'm clinging to some hope there that maybe that'll continue.
Please. Yeah, no kidding. So they will play Oregon this Saturday in first game at home. New lights. Who dis? So that I think the atmosphere is going to be wicked.
It's going to be feral in that stadium.
Yeah, feral is the
good
perfect
luck
word.
Ducks.
Yeah, good luck ducks. Duck, duck, go goose.
Yeah.
So
Students
I'm looking forward to it.
crazy.
Students are hype. The community, Lubbock, all of it. Y'all know, like Red Raider Outfitters and Cardinals, and all of them are just cranking it out. So I think it'll be fun.
Forget about Wyoming. It happened. It is what it is.
On to the next.
Listen, at the end of this week, we could be 1-1, and a lot of people predicted that we would be 1-1 after 2 games. Now, most people everybody would have said we would have won the Wyoming game and lost the Oregon game. Honestly, if we lose the Wyoming game and win against Oregon, I kind of would prefer that 1-1. You know what I mean?
I prefer it.
So everything is still in front of this team, and that's the way you have to look at it. It's not time to press the panic button after one game. That's for later in the season if you see consecutive clunkers in a row. But there was good things that were happening in that game. You just got to lean on the good things and get out of your heads. That was a weird game. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see it. I wish I could be there. It's going to be a hype atmosphere, like you said. So if you're in Lubbock and you don't have a ticket, you probably can't get one. But maybe you can scrounge one up somewhere from a non-believer, from a fair weather fan that's over it. And they're selling their ticket for some reason.
Yeah, give us your tickets. We'll find a home.
Don't fair weather fans anyway. Like, get out of here. Yeah. If that's you after one game, like, you're not a real fan. I don't want you a part of this fan base anyway. So get gone. Give it to someone that wants to be there.
Yeah. What did Joey say? Like, shut your mouth.
Oh yeah, you want to go get fired up again, and then there's people that are like, yeah, this guy, he's all talk. He can give a good press conference. Like, just shut up. Like, whatever. Yeah. Like, his press conference was exactly what you want to hear from a coach. Basically, like, hey man, if I was a fan, I would have been saying the same stuff as you. Like, I get it. Like, I understand. I was saying something worse than y'all were. I promise you. If I tweeted what I was thinking, it would have been worse than what I saw from fans. So you appreciate that.
I'm a little messed up in the head.
So he looked on Twitter because his wife told him not to. And he's like, but I'm a little messed up in the head. So I looked.
That's our guy. I love it. That's our guy.
But he did say, I told the players not to do that because he's like, I'm 50 years old and I was a high school football coach in Texas, and I'm telling you right now, what the people, which people from Texas understand that high school football is just as intense, if not more intense, than college. So he's been there, done that. And then my favorite quote from that was at the end about, like, if you're all in, you can say whatever you want to. But if you're a fair weather fan, that's when you need to shut up. And that, to me, encapsulates everything, all this back and forth on Twitter this week about fans telling other fans how to fan. Like, I'm not going to be that person. If you're an emotional tweeter and that's how you use Twitter and you don't have any attachment to any media, I think there are some people that are, like, attached to podcasts and stuff that need to understand that they have a little bit more responsibility when they're tweeting, because people see them as a knowledgeable person in the space, whether they want to believe that or not. I think they need to think about what they're tweeting a little bit more. But if you're just a fan, like just tweeting, if that's how you use it, fine. Like, and you're going to come back the next week and do the same thing and support them. I'm good with it. It's the ones that you don't hear from.
Right.
They're dead silent until something goes wrong, and then they come out. Those are the ones that need to shut up.
Boring.
So, I'm like, get over yourself. Like, you're a closet UT fan or something.
A spy from Austin.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hoping we see a different turnout. I mean, we will in terms of just that home field advantage. It's going to be electric. So looking forward to it. Red Raiders.
I think we'll keep it close. I think it'll be a good game, and we'll have a shot to win it in the fourth quarter, and that's all you can ask for.
So
that's my hope for the game.
We're going to win it.
Enjoy it. Yeah, those lights are going to be crazy. You're going to the game, right? You got tickets?
I am. I'm so lucky. Yeah.
You can give us the atmosphere vibe check.
I'll take some videos.
Monday or Tuesday, whenever we record again.
Cool. Well, until next time, Red Raiders. Hopefully we got better news next week. Till then, let's wreck them, y'all.